Well, good morning YouTube, and welcome back to Retired for Life. So it's time to get the sawmill up and running again. I am behind on this, so I've got to get moving here. My logs have been sitting for way too long, so I am bound to have some bug damage in some of them. So we'll see how that goes. But you can only do what you can do. And it has been a really busy year this year. I probably took on too much. But that's okay. It's been interesting. I've had lots of fun. So as you saw from the last video, the storage shed is now in full use. And that's a big milestone to have that in use. Because this piece of crap blue shed here has got to come down. I've got a few things in it, not much. But I got to get rid of this eyesore. And that's going to be a real pleasure to get rid of. Because I'm afraid I haven't done anything with it for the last couple of years, thinking, well, the snow is just going to take it down. And so far, amazingly, it hasn't. So I think I'm going to try a controlled demolition of this thing. But my priority is to get these logs done, because I'm still not out. Runaway chipmunk. I'm still not out of being in a bit of trouble with the amount of work I've got to do. I've got to get all these logs done. We are going to be going out again very shortly to harvest more trees to get more logs. So these have got to be done and off of my bunk. And that means I need the space to store the lumber, because as you've seen, my drying tent is just about full. But with the storage building done and in use, I now have room in one of my storage domes down here. It's a little bit farther away than I'd like, but I need the storage space, and that's going to be a good spot to pile up more boards for drying. So let's get this thing running and get to work on that log pile. All right, guys, first log of the day underway. When you're setting up your cant for the first time here, especially on bigger logs, there's a lot of moving around of the log stops. So as I've mentioned before, these are not hydraulic or electric. This is all manual work. So today, and for probably most of these logs, I am targeting for 2x6s and 1x8s, because I did use up a lot of that in the storage shed. Pretty much everything I've got here is going to go into those two sizes. So guys, make sure your blades are sharp. Don't be pushing too hard on this. You're going to screw up the bearings that the blades run up against if you do that, and you're going to end up with wavy cuts. So even though this is a log that's got lots of knots in it, I'm getting a nice flat cut because I got a nice sharp blade. And it's set up properly. You got to make sure your blade is running parallel. So as you can see, this log has got a pretty good wow in it here. So I've got to balance that out as much as I can before taking the cut off of this face. Now we got quite a jump here in size. There we go. 3 sides are done. Parallel and square. So now we're ready to make lumber. Well, it's a sunny, clear day today, but we have a power outage. And we found out on the website that the power outage is from them doing some maintenance work. They're replacing a resistor or something. Would have been nice if they could have told us that ahead of time, but whatever. We have got our Generalink switch running, so powered back to the house. This thing, I just love this system. Boy, oh boy. Well, we're just getting ready to get started on our first log of the day today. Now, I was watching a video on a YouTube channel called Jellin Outdoors, and he has actually the same sawmill as mine, but he deals with some pretty big stuff. We've got an extension and that kind of thing on his, I believe, and he's building a post and beam building. So he is running this sawmill, same as me. Now, one thing that he mentioned that did kind of strike home to me that I have never really given a lot of thought, because I didn't have an issue with it at all. If you're going to get one of these things and run it, you do need to have a place to do something with all the waste that comes off of it. Now, the reason it never really occurs to me too much is because I have a place for it. My neighbor has this big pit in the back of his property that he's filling, so he wants all the clean fill he can get. So everything waste that comes off of my sawmill goes over to his pit. I'll pile it up there, and then he'll come over with his trailer and gather it all up and take it and dump it. And as for my sawdust, I usually will leave the sawdust lay here beside the mill where it's out of the way and not causing any harm until the end of the year, and then I scoop it all up and take it out and put it on my trails. Now, it's a great thing for trails. Helps keep the mud down. Definitely helps keep ticks down, because you're not going to get that much grass growing on your trails and that kind of thing. And ticks are a problem in this area, so you've got to be pretty careful of that. And the other thing for me is my wife has accused me of being a little overly anal retentive about that kind of thing. But I hate a messy shop and a messy work area. I have worked in shops that have been very disorganized and a real mess, and it's a real struggle. So don't let that happen. Keep up with stuff, because once you fall behind, holy mackerel, it can be a challenge to get caught back up again. Well, good morning, guys. It is a very gray day today, and they are talking about rain this afternoon. So it is going to be a maintenance day. I do not like getting rain on the power head of the sawmill up there, so it's going to stay covered. Now I am just minutes away from turning 400 hours on the Kubota, so it's time for the big maintenance job. Oh, here's something interesting. Just before I left for holidays, I'm not sure I put this in the last video, it was a very bright green cocoon on the door. Now I didn't think it would still be here, but there it is, and it's no longer bright green. It's turning kind of translucent, and you can pretty much see the colors of the wings of the butterfly in there, which I believe is a monarch. That's pretty cool. Yes, the BX23 is a small tractor, subcompact, which means it's basically not much bigger than a lawnmower, but it holds an awful lot of fluid. So to do the 400-hour change, these are the parts. I've got all the fluids and filters and stuff that I need. So I've got 2 fuel filters, which are fortunately way cheaper than the ones I see on the big tractor. Holy mackerel, they can be expensive. These are basically 14 bucks a piece. And then I have got my transmission fluid filter, my engine filter, and I also bought an air filter. I don't necessarily need it. You can usually clean those air filters without too much trouble, but I wanted to have a spare anyway, so I've got a spare air filter. And then I have got 1 jug of the Kubota 10W30 motor oil and 4 jugs of the UDT oil that's used for the transmission. That also feeds the hydraulic system in it and all that kind of thing. It's an awful lot of oil. Plus, I'm changing the oil on the front axle too. And that holds a fair amount of oil. So altogether for this, I just spent taxes in $344. So not cheap, but way, way less expensive than the big tractors. Now, when I'm doing this maintenance, I do follow a YouTube video that I came across that shows the maintenance of all of these things, and I like it. It's very easy to follow. It explains everything, and I'll put a link to that video up here and in the description so you can look at that. The other thing that I have to do is remove the crash plate that I put on the bottom of the tractor. Now this is a very heavy crash plate. It's made of checker plate. It's quite thick. Some of the ones that I have seen are basically formed sheet metal, and I don't trust those. The tractor weighs an awful lot. You bump into a rock or something like that, you're going to crush that sheet metal too easily for my liking. Now this one is a bit of a nuisance to take off, but it's extremely rugged and I really like it. So I will put a link to where that came from as well down in the description. All right, we're going to go and get the tractor running, get the parts off of it and get it ready and bring it in here and we'll get started. Keep in mind, as I have said several times before, this is not a how-to channel. This is basically how I do it, along with all the screw-ups and stuff that go with it. So don't take anything that I'm doing as gospel. You need to do your research, like I have done. Make sure things are being done properly. Refer to your manual, as I always do, and you should be safe. All right, let's get to work. Now we've got clearance. Well, that was clumsy, but fortunately for me, I didn't actually do any damage. The top of the roll bar went right in over top of my solar light here and back in and touched here. So no damage to the eave troughs or anything. Sometimes you just get silly. All right, we're in here. We got lots of room. Got my materials out. I got my manual out. Let's get to work. We'll start with the oil change. Well, look at this, guys. There is the monarch butterfly that has come out of its cocoon. That's pretty cool. They are pretty. Well, good morning again, guys. So we had rain come in right as we were putting the tractor away yesterday, so I did not get to the oil change on the mill. So we're going to do that, but I was a bit surprised to see this guy still here. Yeah, they are pretty. He's been flexing his wings here, and there's what's left of his cocoon. And I'm sure he'll be gone very soon, but we don't want to disturb him. Let him go on his own pace. Well, guys, I don't want this video to get too long, so I'm going to break this up into two parts. I do want to show you some details on the service work that I did to the Kubota, but that's going to make the video get a little lengthy, and I don't like them getting that long. So with that said, I think we're going to end this video here. So this video will come out Saturday, and part 2 is going to come out on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to give it a like, and I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you out on the trails the next time.